Today's gospel takes us back to the night before Jesus died and his last words to his followers. Jesus has washed the feet of the disciples and told them that they should do the same. Then Jesus is troubled in spirit because he knows that one of them will betray him. And the disciples in turn are troubled because they can't imagine who it might be. Judas receives the piece of bread from Jesus, who tells him to do quickly what you are going to do. So he immediately goes out, and it was night. I find it helpful to keep this setting in mind when meditating on the next words that Jesus says. Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. The word glory is used 6 times in this pronouncement. The gospel writer, John, tends to overstate his case in his desire that we understand what is going on here. Only through betrayal and death does Jesus enter into the glory of God. The other truth that Jesus makes clear in this scene is that we now have a new commandment, which is to love one another. The new in this command is the phrase, "As I have loved you, so you also should love one another." As I have loved you is the tough part. Am I willing to lay down my life for my friends, let alone for my enemies? The concluding conversation in chapter 13 is the one where Peter declares that he will lay down his life for Jesus, and we know how that turned out. If we keep in our imaginations the scene with Judas and the one with Peter, the words of Jesus that now the Son of Man is glorified should knock us over. How does betrayal and denial lead God to glorify the Son with God's own glory? It is this mystery that we celebrate during the Easter season. One way into this mystery are the other words of Jesus, that we must love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. St. Paul's insight helps us here, that even if we did understand all mysteries and all knowledge, it counts for nothing if we don't have love. This is the other theme in John's Gospel where he gets repetitious. In chapter 15, still at the Last Supper, Jesus says again, "This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. No one can have greater love than this, to lay down one's life for those one loves." And again in verse 17, "This I command you, love one another." If this reflecting on the mystery of God's glory through suffering and the challenge of trying to love as Jesus did seems a bit heavy, we have the other 2 readings for some relief. In Acts, Paul and Barnabas continue their everyday work of proclaiming the good news and encouraging the disciples, just as we do daily, whatever work God has entrusted to us. And in Revelation, John paints a glorious picture of a new heaven and a new earth, where we will truly love everyone as we are destined to do. Let us continue our celebration of the mystery and the good news of this Easter season.